I know I haven't been posting anywhere near enough, and I need to get into the habit of like making shorter things more often. But sometimes I just get so inspired and I can't not make a video. I got rainbow pilled. I'm a casual Stranger Things fan, at least I was. I don't remember if I watched it when it first came out or a few months later when I, saw people, friends talk about it and make it sound interesting, or if I watched it when it first, like, immediately came out. I think it was a few months later. At any rate, I did watch every season, and, I anticipated it and watched, as the later seasons came up, watched as soon as I could. But I had never rewatched. I think part of that is because I got burned by Game of Thrones and Lost, and have not invested in a show in that way since. I don't think that I tried to rewatch Handmaid's Tale just to make videos this year, and also because it was the final season, but I still didn't finish the rewatch. So I'm, no longer much of a rewatcher. Also, that's a lot about personal issues I have of like my energy level is not fantastic, which is why I don't make videos frequently enough. So rewatching something when there's so much other stuff that I can't keep up with, it just doesn't make sense. But then my little ADHD, odd HD, or whatever you want to call it, kicked in after watching the current season 5, or Stranger Things 5, Volume 1. I don't remember when it first hit me, but certainly by the final sequence when Mike has total heart eyes for Will when Will gets his powers, it was a lock, and I had to rewatch the season. I don't know if I searched or if things just started coming up about the Bylar theory, which the Bylar theory is that Mike and Will are in love. And for a long time, people doubted Will was gay, and then when he came out, then, the general audience, GA, is, saying, oh, it's just one-sided. So anyway, this video is not even about Bylar, but this is how I came to make this series of videos, because on rewatching, I noticed just so many incredible details about different things. So I'm going to do just a few different videos leading up to a Bylar video, and I'm going to try and put more into it. But, I'm new. I don't know how to edit videos. This is all very new to me. So this video today is not fleshed out, but just a theory that occurred to me today. I haven't seen anyone else mention it. So the theory is, first I was going to call it the mind reader theory, because Elle can read minds and Vecna can read minds. But then I realized that, well, what about Callie and what about Will? The three of them would form this amazing triad, because each of them has a power that Vecna has. I came across the theory that we will hear Vecna shaming someone about being gay, saying things like, do you really think he could love you when, you're disgusting, or whatever someone in the 80s, would do to shame, and then Henry's grew up in the 50s, would do to shame someone that's gay. And maybe we won't see who they're shaming at first. We'll just hear Vecna talking, and we'll assume it's Will because we know he's gay. And Vecna already kind of alluded to that, of like some minds not belonging in this world, when he dragged Will towards him at the Maxi. This person theorized that then there'd be a reveal, and it's actually Mike, and we'd see Mike's feelings about Will through Vecna, because we haven't had Mike's video. Like, we get Will's video right before he gets his powers. We see his memories of his family, and in particular with Mike, and how that's made him who he is, and made him feel loved and made him powerful. I wanted to add on to that theory. I've seen elsewhere being compared to like the Horcrux scene when in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, when Ron has the Horcrux. He sees Harry and Hermione suggested naked. It's kind of blurred, but they're naked, they're making out, and that's Ron's biggest fear, right? He thinks, I can't compare to the chosen one, so he's jealous and thinking the Horcrux makes him think Harry and Hermione are going to be together, or are together, and he's in love with Hermione. So I think I think it's like a similar thing that he's we could see Mike being shown this nightmare by Vecna of seeing Will with Robin. So back to my theory. It's canon that we have two characters that can read minds. One is Vecna and one is Elle. And then after I started this, I realized again that we have a triad of characters that have Vecna's abilities, and ultimately I think that they might team up, together. And that's Will with his, has some of his telekinetic abilities and ability to connect to the hive mind and kills in the same way that Vecna does. Elle can remote view live events, and Callie can make people see illusions that she wants them to see. First, I want to focus on Elle. So Elle can astral project and view other people's, what's going on with them in real time. That's the original ability that she was taught in the lab in order to spy on the Russians. And it seems like her powers have evolved. In this current season, gets into that soldier's head that Hop captures. She's not looking at a picture and observing him talking to Hop and getting information, because Hop said he's not going to break. He's not going to get information out of him in one day. It takes weeks and months to break someone to give out classified information. Elle goes into his head. The guy is tortured. He's saying, "Get out of my head." She's not just doing what she's done in past seasons, which is walking around the person and witnessing what she would be able to say as if she was actually in the room. That's just astral projecting. She's getting in his brain. How long has Elle been able to read minds? I haven't seen a theory about this. I haven't seen it mentioned on the show, other than them showing her do it and the guy going crazy and saying, "Get out of my head," that she actually gets into someone's head. As far as that greater picture, I think she could piggyback into the hive mind onto Will, like she did in the previous episode, because things aren't just set up in a show for no reason. When they are, they're when they're dropped, it's not good. And this show is just so skillfully put together. I don't think things are there for a reason. They brought back Callie for a reason. Like I said, the three of them, between them, have most of the powers of Vecna, if not all of the powers of Vecna. So if Elle can piggyback on Will, she can tap directly into the hive mind. She's already sent Henry/1/Vecna into Dimension X and led to him becoming Vecna. What could she do if she was actually tapped into the hive mind? Could she surge more power into him? Because she's, again, they refer to her sometimes as being the battery, or charging her battery, right? Like she has a literal sense of power that surges out of her. And Will, he can control the hive mind, so he could keep the Demogorg. Why is my brain not working? And the Demodogs from protecting Vecna. Elle could put a surge through the hive mind, maybe get Will to disconnect before that, they have to time it right. And Callie can create illusions like Vecna. So Vecna creates these illusions that prey on people's insecurities about their family or their love life or their bodies or whatever they're insecure about. He's basically like the bullies in season 1 that were bullying Mike about Will being gay. And notice all the homophobic bullying was directed at Mike because Will was gone. I don't think there was even homophobic bullying in the later seasons when Will was back. Those bullies make fun of Mike. They don't say it to Lucas or Dustin. The homophobic remarks were directed at Mike because they're picking up on Mike also maybe being gay, right? So I think that Callie's ability could be used to tap into Vecna's, or to present Vecna's insecurities or trick him, while Elle can get into his head now and read his thoughts, which she couldn't do before. And you can just cause more damage by, knowing what someone's vulnerabilities are, versus when you're just fighting the blind like she did the first time. And so this might come into play if he plays on Will's vulnerabilities. Callie can create a more positive image to counteract that. She can create images to trick Vecna into thinking that he's torturing someone when he's not and the person's safe. she could create images that prey on on Vecna's insecurities. So I just think the team up of those three is going to be really important. So call it a theory, call it a prediction, but I do think that these three will team up to save the world. And I do love that it's a Trinity, but also we have to remember that in a series or movie like this, it's about everyone bringing their strengths, like Mike is the heart and Mike is the writer, right, who writes the campaigns. Everyone has something to contribute. Dustin's always coming up with different inventions or ideas or figuring things out. Everyone has their skill, right? And they're going to have to work together. But I just think that this triad is going to help defeat Vecna. But then the question is Vecna the final big bad? So people think Will might be the big bad, or we'll have an evil, villain arc. I think he might get possessed and it'll go wrong and he'll do some evil stuff, but I think he'll break out of it. But that's another theory for another day. I have a very specific reason I think that. But I just want to get this up here before Christmas so that if I'm right, that would be really fun and interesting. But it's also, again, like I said at the beginning, an idea that I haven't heard anyone else say, although I haven't watched exhaustive videos, and I'm new to even watching theory videos about Stranger Things. And now that I have found the whole Byler community, I don't even want to go back and watch the theory channels that I used to watch for Game of Thrones and Marvel, because I noticed they're not covering that at all, and it's so big and so obvious, and I haven't seen it even in long videos. So now I don't trust their analysis, because I think they're quite the opposite of what people are saying, that the Byler would be shoved in for fan service. No, not at all. It's been seeded since the first episode, but the actual fan service to me is all the theory channels that aren't mentioning it, and are wondering about Mike. And sometimes they're not even talking about relationships, so that might be part of it. And I normally don't care about relationships in shows. I have not been watching very many non-Byler theory videos just because I did, and they didn't mention that at all, and it seems like such a big part of the show. And if you can go into minutia and details about, what someone's wearing in a Marvel movie, or what's on the wall in, or what comic is in the background, or things like that, why are they not doing that for Stranger Things? I think it's fan service to the hetero dude bros who probably think the show is for them, but I don't think it is. I think it's for misfits. So if you have found anyone else discussing anything about this triad of Elle, Will, and Collie, I would love to see it. Please feel free to link or tell me the channel. But I was just really disappointed because of like I said, the channels that I would normally watch for theory videos. I'm not going to bother to watch 30 or 40-minute videos when they're missing one of the biggest threads in the show. Now I don't trust their judgment or their analysis or their objectivity. Anyway, I hope you're having a great time. If you're rewatching, I hope you're enjoying the new season, and go hug a cat.